What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to an All New Nerds podcast episode. I'm Dylan, joined here with Gibbs and Levi. 85. We've been doing 85 of these things.
Yeah, we are nearing 100, which I'm gonna be honest, we have not discussed. We have no plans for it, but we'll come up with something big.
Well, come on, that's 15 weeks from now. That's
yeah, no, 15 weeks. Like if all goes according to plan, probably more like 25 weeks.
Well, yeah, for being honest.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, half.
Great. I've been away for probably 10 or 20 of these things. So, but I'm back now. You know, it's summer. We thought maybe we'd have a bigger train of content going, but we're all just so busy. Like, I don't know. We all just got stuff going on. Life's getting in the way. But we're here now to talk about whatever it is that's going on in the nerd world.
There's one or two things. It hasn't been a huge news week, but
no,
we're here to talk about anything really.
I mean, yeah, because you've been gone for a bit there. What were your thoughts on some of the more recent stuff you've come out? Like Flash, and you saw that, right?
Yeah,
I
saw Flash with Gibbs here. We saw it at a drive-in theater, which
Did you
I
watch
think
it
is
again,
the
Ben?
Yeah, I watched it again. Yeah,
I'm gonna say I think that's the optimal way to watch the Flash because I didn't notice the horrible CGI as much.
It's true. It is
like as my screen, my car windshield was like fogging up and it was
raining. It was like raining a little bit. It was a fine viewing experience, but it's not the most optimal. So
that's interesting. So would you say you liked it? But before I hear your thoughts, did you like it more, Ben?
Listen, I think this is where I fully landed on the movie. Is actually really like the first hour and a half, and then I don't like the last hour. I think that's where I'm at with the movie. I think as soon as they get to the desert, just like flat, so boring. And I hate what they do with Keaton there. It's him just flying around the Batwing, and then the ejector seat doesn't work. It's like, oh, Batman's dead. It's like the stupidest, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Whatever. I don't.
What a bad sacrifice.
I do like I like the beginning and I like some of the stuff they set up, and I don't know. It's a weird movie. Yeah. It's hard for me to truly judge it, but
definitely a strange film.
Too many implications.
Fully hate it. Yeah, I agree, and I don't fully hate it either, and I don't fully love it. I definitely have this weird in between take where it's got redeemable parts, especially in the beginning, like you said there, the first hour. I actually do and I've seen complaints about this. I do like the dynamic between the two Barrys. I think it's pretty well done there, and it's it gives you a pretty good look into who this DCEU Barry is, I guess, from both different perspectives. But yeah, the movie definitely falls off very hard, and like you said, especially the desert, just I knew it was coming because I'd seen clips from it, nothing too spoilery, but in the trailers and stuff, and it's just it's just hilarious. You can just know they didn't want to have more shitty CGI, so they just did it in a desert, the most boring place to do it.
Well, I don't know about spoilers because the trailers are the whole movie. There are no spoilers.
The trailers. The trailers. I guess the only real twist is the villain at the end,
which was very shoehorned in and not well done.
Yeah, which I also
overly confusing too. I mean, we talked a lot about this after the movie, and it's very hard to know what happened and what didn't happen, and is the universe reset? Is Michael Keaton is he dead or is he alive? Because the events of the movie never happened in that other universe, and just No Way Home, there's just a lot of gaps in terms of
I think Flash has way more gaps than No Way Home.
I don't know, man. Everyone who knows Peter Parker except Electro can come too, and it's that kind of stuff. I don't want to get an in-depth comparison of the two. I'm just saying, as soon as you start dipping into this multiverse, type thing, and even Spider-Verse was not immune to this. I do think there are a few questions after Spider-Verse, and you sort of just have to be or make your own answer.
My take on Spider-Verse with that kind of stuff is I do think they have thought about it and it will be answered in the next movie. I think they
have done it the best.
Plot, but
that obviously. But I think it's just you're always gonna have any time travel, you're always going to have questions. I think
But
Back
at
to the
least
Future
Marvel
is the
has
only
like
thing that
been
did it
setting
well.
it up through different movies and like giving us some rules, even though each movie has different rules to how the multiverse works. Like Endgame, for
Yeah.
example, is
I
like
know, Endgame. I mean,
very
the
clear.
time travel
Yeah,
Endgame is also confusing, and it's just
right. But
yeah.
at least they give you an explanation.
I'm
like, to
sick of
how
the fad,
things
dude. I'm
work.
sick of it. I'm gonna be honest. I
Sick
don't
of
want
the
any
what?
more multiverse stuff. Even
Oh,
though I'm
no,
excited for the next season of Loki, but
I just hate that DC is like, yeah, we need to do this too, and we're gonna do it in one movie, just like we did Justice
I
League.
know, but they're
Like,
trying to use it to their advantage of like switching to the DCU.
yeah,
which,
like it has whole different implication. Like it's not an artistic choice. It feels like
no,
it feels like
it's a
the
cop out,
like
and then they don't
yeah,
use the
They don't
cop
even do
out
it.
how they said they were going to. And
right.
I wish Johnny were here to to give his crazy take
James
on
on the
this.
side.
Um,
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
I was gonna say my biggest like thinking on the Flash, because the more I think about it, the more I don't like it, is one of the questions in the first act that I had that I thought was interesting was who killed his mom?
Yeah.
Like who did it?
There's a throwaway line where it's just like, you know, they thought that no one was home. You know, they ran in to rob them, and
No,
you know,
I know, but like I feel like they set it up to be more interesting than that.
Yeah,
And the fact,
I
like,
agree. Yeah, I was
Not
waiting.
that-
yeah,
now
man, with all the cuts to the script and the rewrites, like who knows? That probably was like a plot point at one point, you know?
Yeah,
just I don't know, and that I need to be answered, but with the way it was all framed, I thought, oh,
it felt like there was going to be something connects to who killed her.
yeah,
Like
something.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
No.
I don't know. It's just a weird.
Well, what I did like about the Flash was I think the mom stuff worked well for me. I think, and what I liked a lot about the Two Berries is we saw the difference of like what, you know, like a child, you know, being raised without a parent or with their parents. You
Yeah.
know, and like I watched with my sister, and she was like, "Why is like new Flash so dumb?" And it's like, I mean, because he is pretty stupid, which
he wasn't. It got annoying at times. Like I understand.
a little
what you meant,
exaggerated, but it's still, it's like
yeah.
he was coddled. I mean, that's the point they're going for.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, obviously with the monkey, and it's like he doesn't appreciate his mom, which I also think is kind of cool. That in the end, he's the one that, you know, spends you know, lifetime
eternity or
trying to
whatever,
save
yeah.
her, where it's the, you know, the Barry that lost her that's ready to.
No, there's some really interesting stuff
There
in the
is,
movie,
Yeah.
and
But then it's
interesting
like, oh,
scripts.
Michael Keaton, like Batwing.
And here's
like,
all the
Cannon Jack.
Supermen for some reason. Here's all this like here's Nick Cage's
Yeah,
Superman.
yeah,
You
like,
just wanted
I
to see
don't-
him, right? Like
I'm sure some people did, but
a
I never
CGI
really
abomination.
sat down
like,
to ask myself why there were a bunch of Superman cameos.
I
Would
have
it make
no
more
idea.
sense to do that in Superman Legacy? Like
it
look-
made no sense.
why not?
made-
Like, so Batman is a much more prevalent character. I know people are like, we want Christian Bale Batman.
I thought they were
wanted
going to show
that
other
too.
Flashes in that. Like,
or
wouldn't
show
that
more
make
flashes. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like wouldn't
Like,
that
why
be more,
Superman?
like-
Well, they did. They showed one other Flash,
One other Flash.
but it's like a deep cut from like the middle of the CW show, and the guy didn't even know. It's weird. Like
I know. And why not just show the CW Flash?
Yeah,
He's
why
been
not show Grant
carrying the
Gustin?
Flash
Yeah.
stuff for so
Yeah.
long? And
But that Superman stuff is like, me
It's
too, I
egregious.
saw that. I was like, this
It's
is
so
the
bad.
most like shoehorned in. Like, I don't know. It was ridiculous, and I knew it was coming too because I'd heard about the Nick Cage. I didn't realize how bad of a CGI abomination Nick Cage was gonna be. I thought it would be more like a deep fake, but it's just a CGI model.
yeah,
yeah, it's a model. Yeah, it's a full on like.
even
they
though he
it
was
was-
there,
It
apparently.
looked like a PS2 game. Like it. Yeah, and I mean, I know it's been. I'm beating dead horse. The CGI was atrocious. Like it's unacceptable for a big franchise movie to look like that. But like, I don't know. I don't want to harp on it too much. 'cause
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've talked to the Flash to death, but maybe to shift into a relatively real and rich topic is WB is set to lose around 1.1 to 1.2 billion dollars on these 4 DC movies. Apparently, that is apparently what they cost,
Yeah.
and that is absurd. Like there are serious questions about Warner Brothers as a company, their
Is
liquidity.
it a
Like, I don't know-
money laundering scheme? Like
I don't
what
know,
is?
I don't know if you guys saw, but they're having to sell off a lot of their music rights, like 500 million of their music rights, including like Prince and
Oh my
like
God.
like stuff like from the
You
Batman.
would think they're
scores and
too big to
Casablanca.
fail, right? But it's just like
But I don't know. So I think it raises the question: like some people are genuinely questioning, will Warner Brothers as a studio exist in its current form by the end of the year? Because David Zaslav came in. We've talked about him to death. You know, this figure of like he's this business magnate and he's going to fix the company, and then proceeds to just lose like $1 billion. It's
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
really
everything with
sad
HBO
because,
Max
Warner
and-
Brothers obviously being like probably the most, iconic movie
Yeah.
studio of, the 40s and 50s, and
But also,
like,
if
it's-
they're gone, what do we got? Just Disney, and like that's kind of it. Like once WB's got Disney, is if they're not already a monopoly, like is quite like has it like a huge hold on the industry. Like, even
But
more
Disney
than they
isn't
already
doing
do.
as well either. Disney is held
No.
up by their parks brand, but in terms of the box office as a whole for June, this huge blockbuster box office season, all movies have been said. People aren't going to see Pixar movies anymore.
Yeah.
People aren't going to see. It's
Well, 'cause
fascinating.
You can't drop
sad.
Elementals
I would
after
say that's sad.
Spider-Verse and expect people like
I'm not losing sleep over, WB like losing money, but as an overall like implications of like people just don't go to the theater as much anymore. But and I mean, people will go to see a good movie. Like Top Gun obviously did like
yeah. I mean, I expect
incredible-
Oppenheimer and Barbie to do phenomenally. Actually, like
I hope so, but there have been these movies recently that like are good and just like are not getting like they're not doing well. And movies are
Yeah.
more expensive to make than ever right now. So
That's true,
a lot of these movies have these massive budgets and
right?
just not enough to support it. And honestly, I know Warner Brothers is such a mess, and I think a lot of like the general public is just like confused, which is why they didn't see Flash. But I am surprised it didn't do better. Like
No, same.
the fact that Black Adam outperformed Flash in the opening weekend is like absurd to me. Like I didn't see Black Adam. Like I didn't care.
No,
and,
I didn't either. I don't
and
know.
I
and
care
many
about
people
this
that
kind of
did
stuff.
either.
But like
care.
Flash was the one movie I'm like, well, this
I didn't.
Flash is probably the last like biggest superhero that hasn't gotten his own movie ever, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
so I think that would be enough to get people to go. But I don't
Well,
know. Like,
now-
what
but think-
was it? Was it
think
the
about-
advertising?
Black Adam, Shazam, Flash. Now we have Blue Beetle and Aquaman. Both of which, like, you think those movies are going to make any money? Like, I don't think so.
who knows who Blue Beetle? Like, obviously, people know who Blue Beetle is, but it's like he's not like he's not your savior franchise character. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do another Batman.
I
know, I
allegedly
know.
the first
DCU.
DCU.
You have to get another Batman or a Superman going before you can like get, I mean, people will go see it, but yeah, again, if the Flash is like bombing this bad, like I don't expect Blue Beetle to like.
The most hilarious one to me is Aquaman 2, because I actually can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with with people in my life where I talk about Aquaman 2 and they're like, "Oh, that didn't come out already?"
I
Yeah,
thought that movie came out too. I
everyone-
straight up was like, didn't that
Everyone
movie,
thinks that it's out because they've been working on it for so long, and
Yeah.
like it should be out, and everyone thinks it's out, and it's not, and it's like a weird like we got like a
Paradox.
Mandela effect going on here, like.
Yeah,
Straight
I
up,
saw
like-
I saw Aquaman.
Oh, I
too.
think everything
yeah, I
with
think
the Amber-
I've seen Aquaman too.
everything.
No,
with the
you
Amber
haven't.
Heard stuff was like
No one has. I know.
Yeah. Well, I will say, maybe it's a bit cynical. I do kind of like when the not as good like superhero movies don't do as well, because I want it to force them to like make better products. It won't, unfortunately. Like I don't think it will. But even like when Marvel like I think Quantumania did do well, but like it didn't do
No, it
phenomenally
did not do
compared.
well.
to
No. It didn't.
I thought it did okay. No, it didn't.
No, it did not.
We'll see. I see that. And I'm like, okay, that's hopefully Disney will see that and be like, we need to step our shit up, because like, I don't know, there's clearly a direct correlation to like the quality of the movie.
But
and
just looking
well it's
at the
doing.
slate and some of the stuff, and it's just like, if Ant-Man has name recognition, some of the
Yeah,
stuff that's
no, I
coming up,
know.
it's like and they don't seem to be advertising very well anymore. Marvel,
No.
I mean, I think a lot of
Disney
these Disney
has
does
been
not
really bad
advertise
at
well.
advertising, actually.
It's because
Yeah.
you know why? It's because they're out of money. People like this sort of conversation that I'm trying to have is that these big studios are actually genuinely running out of money. And you asked earlier why the Flash failed. I mean, it was a well-reported story that Warner Brothers ran out of money to promote their films. Because for the Flash, in the Flash's case, they had literally spent the entire promotion budget like a year and a half ago. Remember, this movie was supposed to come out
Yeah,
like May
Oh,
2022, and they spent it all like during that period. And then they're like, "Well, it got delayed again," and then they just didn't have any money left. Like, you
the
guys saw
most funny like theater promotion of all time. Before the
Yes.
Batman was the Warner Brothers like slate of the 4 movies.
It's one of my favorite Johnny moments. Lies! It's all lies!
because
know.
all those movies were gonna come out within like a couple months of
Yep.
of that moment
It's
of seeing
supposed
the
to be the
Batman.
big return.
It's supposed to be the
Well-
big summer of DC.
We don't have to get into it too much, but do you guys think that Ezra Miller news put this movie down at all? Like was a reason people didn't go see the movie? Because like it was like obviously like he did do stuff, but like a lot of actors do, and it gets blown out of proportion. Like this was like big on social media and stuff, and I wonder if like there were genuine boycotts.
I think it probably had some effect from what Ezra did. However, I think Ben's point about Aquaman 2 and people just being generally confused with the DC brand, like I think people
Yeah.
also thought The Flash had come out. Like I think people are like, "Oh, I saw
Yeah.
that movie." Like I genuinely think
Yeah.
people they
Yeah.
thought they had seen this movie already. And I don't. What the other big thing is they played all their cards. They put it all on the table way too early because then they delayed the movie again. Like if you've seen the film, one of the twists of the movie, which should have been a twist, is the fact that Supergirl is in the movie. Like it's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
yeah.
not Clark Kent. This is a Supergirl.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool because she's not in the movie. Like it's meant to be like, oh, that's a cool cameo thing, and what an interesting twist on the multiverse. But instead, they put that in the trailers, like, come see Supergirl in this
Yeah.
movie. And so, like,
Yeah.
everything
think-
is just in
It
the
was
movie.
a
think it's
very
a bit of
weak
a
part
In
of
the
paradox,
trailer.
movie,
Everything's just in the
my
trailer,
opinion.
rather. Everything's just in the trailer. Like, I know, but using Keaton and, like, I
I
think people are
know
like,
they
oh.
use Keaton so
Yeah.
much. No,
And people are like, oh.
I watched
don't
the
know.
trailer. I remember it popped on during like a basketball game. I was watching with my dad, and he's like, what? Is that like a Batman like movie or like is it a Flash movie? And it's like I get
Yeah.
it. Like it is
The other
confusing.
thing, people were confused.
Yeah.
They saw like a trailer for basically what is tantamount to a Batman movie because some of those trailers are just
Right.
like, "Oh, this is a Batman," and they see
was-
it,
it was
they see, oh,
majority Batman.
and they see the Flash. They go, "I don't know what that is." Like, I want to see that Batman movie.
Yeah,
Is this
man.
the Batman? Like,
I
it's
miss
just-
the I
it's
miss
terrible.
the age of the one-off. Like
Dude,
Iron
I mean,
Man
I'll-
1, man.
I'll say,
like-
I think Batgirl would have actually done well. I think people would have gone and see that.
Oh, let's fucking. Can we talk about that for a second? Did you guys see those photos?
yeah, it looks.
I sent them to you.
Awesome.
But it was official that they had set Batgirl in like the Keaton verse, and they had redone all of the set
It
design
was like
from
the
the
Tim
'89.
Burton
God.
Gotham.
It was the Tim Burton Gotham, and they had. And how cool is that? And they were gonna
That is
have.
Dude, some,
Wait, so
like,
yeah, that's why I was
irrational
confused.
part
I
of
was
me-
confused with the Flash a little bit. So
Yeah,
is
I
that
was.
our Michael Keaton's Batman, or is that a variant? I'm using the MCU term variant.
I think
of
it must
Michael
be a variant,
Keaton's
because
Batman.
obviously Gotham is like normal Gotham.
Yeah,
Yet,
it's like a normal.
yet the Wayne Manor is the same set from the '89 movie, so it's
It's confusing.
So they just
confusing.
didn't. I really don't think they thought about it that much. Maybe like they're probably just like, I don't know. It's Michael Keaton. Just get him.
But they
in
got
there.
me with the nostalgia. Like I love seeing that like
No, I mean,
statue.
they did too.
room.
And
Like,
but
I
he had
love
some
that.
awesome. His
I
action
love that
scenes at
scene.
least were pretty sweet. Like
They were.
except
I'll say, I
for the
think
way he goes out is so.
I think
fucking
no,
sick.
but when they were fighting in the Siberian base, I actually thought it was some of the best like Batman like
Yeah.
fighting
Yeah.
scenes. He was fighting like
and
he
then
did
you
in the
got the
Arkham
Supergirl
games. dude.
CGI to come ruin it.
Yeah,
But,
sure.
yeah.
No, but
yeah, when he jumps down, I mean, it was in the trailer, but the shit or the bat ship or whatever is like, it has a silhouette from the moon. Like that
The
was
bat.
awesome. Batwing. I don't know.
But the fact that they didn't even use the Batmobile once, they advertised that, and it's just in that one scene. But they were going to use it. You saw in the set photos, it was going to be in Batgirl. They're driving around
Yes.
Burton Gotham. Like that would have been awesome. And like that for that alone, I think would have made more than how the Flash is doing.
That's like
now.
what people want from like a TASM 3 or like that. That's kind of that same energy. I feel like, which is something like you think like wouldn't happen. But
Yeah, but the
I
difference here
didn't-
is the movie was made. It was done.
Yeah, like
The film was literally made.
why
Like
can't they just put it on Max? Like why can't they just give us that?
they deleted it from existence.
Yeah, it's
The irrational,
they
like,
bleached it.
Part of me like wants to believe that one day it will.
Apparently, so leakers, the leakers in terms of the DC stuff, the library ones, they've since said, because the Flash thing is, those photos came out, they said, you know what? They said, screw it. The Batgirl, I obviously take this with a grain of salt, but I trust these particular sources. They're saying that it was actually good, and that the whole line about how it was bad was sort of Warner Brothers like propaganda.
Yeah,
Yeah, Warner Brothers PR. I mean, clearly they have like some crazy sway over people because they had the propaganda campaign for the Flash to make people think it was like the greatest superhero film of all time.
yeah. Well, they paid Tom Cruise and fucking who
Yeah,
else was
Stephen
it?
King.
Stephen
Like,
King.
Yeah.
to just be like, can you just like please just say this is a good movie?
Yeah. Well,
No, they're probably all
James
tied to
also
Scientology
said- I
or
don't know.
something.
I mean, I understand the situation that James is in. Like, of course, he has to say it's good, but he's like, it's one of the best superhero movies ever. And it's like, I think even he must know that's not true, right?
I mean,
You
he
think-
made Guardians, man. Like he's capable.
Yeah,
of
he
good
has
things, but,
made
like,
3 superhero movies, no, 4 superhero movies that are better than that one,
in one TV show.
and 1
He
TV
actually
show.
said in an interview that Spider-Verse is his favorite superhero movie ever. That's before he was, the man of DC. So now he's got to change
No,
his
he has
tune
to
a
say
little
that,
bit.
and he has to show up to
Yeah.
all these premieres, and he looks pained. I'm gonna say I saw a
Yeah.
video of him at like the Flash
I
premiere.
mean, he's the one
and-
that chose to buy this thing, though.
Well,
Like,
it's a great video of of Ezra, leaving like and he's like escorted by like 5 bodyguards, and, and like obviously they are not allowed to like talk to anyone,
anyone,
like.
yeah.
And then James comes out when he's sort of like just doing this, like, "Hey everyone," he like
Hi,
signs some
everybody.
stuff, and like he just I don't know, he looks tired and sad.
It's
he buys the franchise and then he just like realized they're like, we got nothing,
I don't
man.
think he
Like,
bought. Did he beat
Yeah,
it?
or he
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
buy
he
it. I guess he got
buys.
he
They
got
hired.
hired. Yeah. That's,
well, he
I mean,
accepted
he
being
applied
called.
for the job. is
Yeah,
what
no,
I
there
mean.
because there was like a whole like
yeah,
shadow
him
war
versus
between
the
the
Rock. Him
yeah.
versus
Yeah.
the Rock.
So
Dude,
he-
The Rock
wanted
wanted
it.
it so bad.
Dude,
I
this
feel
Shazam
like. The Rock was
Black
about to
Adam
make.
beef was like highlight of the year, man.
Yeah, I
No,
know
The
I'm a
Rock did-
Shazam character, but I won't be in Shazam. Like, what?
The Rock wanted it so
He's-
badly, and honestly, I would much rather that.
Oh, I
that
don't
role.
subscribe to that. Listen, man, like I like am all for like sort of making fun of the situation, but James hasn't actually done anything yet. Like besides
No,
just
true.
get up there and just like
lie.
lie. But like, how would you not be lying? The situation that he's in, he probably
no, I
doesn't
know,
even
I know.
Like
No, yeah, I know. I feel like his situation
during a lot of that, they were in the midst of writing Superman Legacy. Like I don't think it was done yet when he was saying all that stuff. Like
It's goofy.
and
Whatever.
Flash probably wasn't like complete either. They probably didn't know what ending they were going to use. Like
Well, Flash it was technically complete like years ago, and then they
technically, I know, but they've
Yeah.
switched it around and reshot it. So
yeah,
much.
I can't believe that. Well, because they had we could talk about that forever, the DC drama, but in terms of another movie, well, that's DC. Marvel, Disney, I think is kind of I was gonna make a comment about the box office, but Guardians actually had pretty good legs. It just breached like $830 million. It's actually doing it's had really good holds. Like it started off kind of rough, but
That's
it's just actually people just keep seeing it. So that's
good.
actually
I haven't
a
seen it,
success
but I heard it's really good. So
for
like,
Marvel.
when they do good,
Guardians is
they
great.
should get money.
But in
They do better.
comparison, in comparison to something like Quantumania, which makes because I was going to start to try and segue us into Secret Invasion, which is I wanted to then make it a point about fatigue, but it is a bizarre thing. I can't figure audiences because something like Quantumania people will reject it, and then something like obviously the Flash people will reject it, but then Guardians will make a lot of money. Spider-Verse,
Well,
it
there are a
is
lot of
weird
people
too,
out there
'cause-
that read reviews and they see what people are saying online and they're like, you know what, maybe I won't go see this. I mean, I didn't go see Quantumania because I heard from people close to me that like it's not great.
yeah, I
was
know,
like,
but at the same time, freaking movies like Batman versus Superman will make like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, it-
Yeah,
I don't.
it was
I don't
also, like,
quite
a different
understand it
time.
either. I can't really figure out what brings people to the movies. Like, there's so many just
Well,
like
that's also
NPCs
Batman,
that
you
go to
know,
the
this
box
is-
office.
that's Batman and Superman. This is Ant-Man. Like this is an Ant-Man movie.
I
Like,
know,
a
but
super-
Ant-Man has good name recognition. Like what I'm saying, like the first two
nearly
movies
as much
are
as
like pretty
Batman
like
and
well
Superman.
regarded. Like
and they
did
made more
well.
money than the third
They
one. Yeah,
made
did
a
well.
lot of money. People liked him. Like, why is
Yeah.
it Quantumania? And people decide, oh no, like is it just fatigue? But like Guardians had the
But then,
like,
but yeah,
oh,
then the movie after
right.
that, was like, oh, well, this is
oh,
great.
it's a Guardians movie. I go see that. Doesn't make any sense to me. But then I don't know numbers for Secret Invasion. Is it like people?
I don't think it's been released yet, but I personally
I've seen like very little marketing.
I've seen
I'll say.
nothing for it.
No, it was
yeah,
not
I mean,
marketed.
like,
But
literally at
Remember
all.
Ben told me it was coming out like he was like, yeah, it's coming out like in 2 days. And I'm like, what? Like
let me just. Well, I don't know. Let's just segue into it. Dylan has not seen it.
I haven't.
And
Unfortunately.
I know it's only one episode. Obviously, Marvel is. We've seen some epic collapses. Like I loved the beginning of Hawkeye, and then that sort of petered out into garbage.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so I won't. I'm not going to declare victory yet. But is it too early to do a little bit to like a little bit of "I told you so"?
It feels like a Loki. It feels
More,
like a
to,
Loki.
more to Johnny. I respect his opinion, but I've been saying this movie has good written all over it, or show. Sorry,
Yeah.
and in one episode, I'm telling you the performances are great. Like you
Well,
got good actors attached to this.
and for the
like-
Marvel shows, because if you guys can believe it, we're about at 50 MCU projects, like fully live action
Oh my god,
projects, which is
it's crazy.
incredible, and it's scary at the same time. It is sort of impressive and cool that something in the 21st century based on comic books could become so successful and prolific.
Right.
Obviously, its proliferation and what that means for like art as a medium is debated. But okay, 50. There have been a lot of shows that is like Ben just said, Hawkeye, which are just like there's the Hawkeye for most people like Falcon and Winter Soldier school of things where it just sort of feels like Marvel goop. But then there's been the Miss Marvel, Loki, and now I think Secret Invasion camp of these shows where it's like, oh, this is like a good TV show
Also,
outside.
I will say that WandaVision was also really good up until the goop at the end.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Oh my. WandaVision was a got goopy.
It got
It got
WandaVision
goopy.
It was the shoehorn, like, oh wait, we need the Marvel finale. Like,
Is that our new
I
term
really
for
the,
how
you know,
these
like,
get gooped?
documentary, like
They
Office
gooped.
style episode, and then
Yeah.
that's when it got bad after that.
No, because like
Yeah.
the first three and the like, I love that 8th episode where she's going through her memories. Like that is some really great stuff
That's
in there.
the best episode of the show, I think. Yeah.
But anyway, but you know what I mean. Like there is
Yeah.
that Marvel formula that people have derided that I think was very present in Phase 4 for like a Black Widow. Like Black Widow is on the same level as Hawkeye, where it's just like an AI wrote this. Like I think an AI literally assembled what this movie is.
Like literally.
and that's what it feels like. But then I think there are, and speaking of AI, which we can have that discussion about the AI credits, which a whole fuss. That was the biggest thing I saw about Secret Invasion. People
I
are mad
know.
about the AI credits.
Same.
But I think Secret Invasion is part of this Loki, Miss Marvel. You know, it feels more like Phase 1, an original thing, and it feels fresh. And I really liked it. So I didn't watch it when it came out because I heard no buzz about it. I thought, oh, it's probably bad. We had some friends who said it was not great or mid.
Shout
and
out
I was-
Corey.
And I was like, okay, I don't want to call him out, but yeah, because his takes, we don't really agree with his takes. But he said it was mid, and I was like, who am I at this point to disbelieve that a Marvel thing is mid, right? I'm like, it's not that.
Hey,
out of-
I've been saying
It's not
this
the
since day
craziest
one.
thing in the
You know,
world.
Not the
we
craziest
find out-
thing.
I'm usually right about these things, guys. I'm gonna say this. Flash
Yeah, no, you.
in Indy. Well, I mean, Indy remains to be seen, but I think I've been pretty right recently. about
You were
good
definitely
versus
right
bad.
about Flash. You were definitely right about Flash. The whole time you were like, this movie fucking sucks, and everyone is just lying. And
And,
I-
hey man, they had you sort of fooled. They definitely had Johnny.
I-
fooled.
I never believed that Flash was gonna be good. In fact, I saw a lot of people online being like, "Y'all really believe this?" Or like, I don't know. Like, it was pretty transparent when like Tom Cruise is like,
but it was
saying it's, like,
audiences too. Like all the
Yeah, no,
audiences
people had
were
seen
saying it
it,
was
and
good.
they're like,
yeah.
"This is
tens of
amazing."
thousands of people are sitting here like, oh,
Not
this is
only the
great.
best superhero movie, just the best movie.
the best
ever.
movie ever.
But what I was fooled on was I thought it was going to be good. I was always anti the idea that it would fit into the DCU somehow.
Sure.
I never believed that the plan was there and that all that was true.
Sure, and you were
However, I did think it was going to be a good movie because so many people had seen it. Like the whole audience at CinemaCon was like, "Oh my god, that's like as good as The Dark Knight." I'm like, surely there's something good here.
No.
And then
you can watch the trailer and just know it won't be as good.
yeah,
as The
and then
Dark
it wasn't. And I was
But
like,
it
man,
wasn't.
It's true.
Anyway.
Actually, I was pleasantly surprised. Not to keep talking about the Flash, I was pleasantly surprised because I thought it was going to absolutely suck.
No,
Like, I
it's
thought
not
it was
an
going
awful
to
movie by
hate
any
it.
means, but
No,
it's just okay. Anyway, Secret Invasion. I think this is in the. I don't remember exactly where I left off at my point, but I just liked it a lot. I'd waited and I liked it a lot. I don't know what to tell you. Like
it can
this is a
crash
very
and burn.
solid.
I don't know. I mean, safe to say going forward, are we going to be talking about it more? Because I will
hope
go
so.
back to the post-ep discussion because maybe if
Yeah.
if it stays good, the buzz will be there. I will say, just no one is talking about this. Like,
no. Again, the only discussion I haven't seen the episode. The only discussion I've seen is the AI credits.
which I don't know. We can
which
have
is
that
gonna
discussion.
take-
Let's talk about it. Well, before
Wait, do you guys not want to like talk about the episode for like? I'm totally cool with you guys.
Well,
spoiling
the
stuff,
credits
but-
are at the start, but I want to make a point about the spoiler and its discussion. Usually with these Marvel shows, if I don't watch it right away, I'll be on Twitter or online and thumbnails. I'll get something spoiled.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a spoiler in this episode. Didn't see a
Like
damn
a
thing
big
about it.
one.
Didn't
No,
see
yeah,
a single
I haven't
thing.
seen anything, and
I
I've been
haven't
on
seen
Twitter
anything,
stuff,
and
so-
that blew me away when I watched the episode. I went, "How does no one talking about this? Like, no one said anything. Like, not even like a
Too many
stand.
duds. Too many duds.
Like people, which
Yeah.
goes back to the fatigue thing. I'm like, okay, but this is good, and people aren't watching it. So
Here's the thing I'll say.
I don't know.
Wait, I feel like Marvel has a bigger fan base than Star Wars, but you at least always hear about Star Wars stuff when they come out. There are
Well, it's
sometimes
almost
Marvel
sparse.
stuff
I
that come
mean,
out. What's
it's a little more sparse. I mean, Levi just said 50 projects. It's different.
Yeah,
than-
yeah, yeah.
Star
I
Wars
guess
has what, like 15?
there's bigger
on this ballpark,
implications
if I do the
when a
math.
Star Wars thing comes out than when a Marvel thing comes out, I guess.
well,
But
and even
like,
then,
I don't know, it is an interesting like
There are
observation,
15
I think.
Yeah,
15 what?
15 Star Wars like projects, like animated or film.
And
11, 12 movies.
12 movies.
Okay, so it's a little more than Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch. So there's your 15, and then you got your live
and
action
live
shows,
action shows, which
which
adds
is
another
4
3.
of them. Kenobi, Andor, Mando, Boba.
Yeah,
So.
I Boba and Mando are like one thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
But-
18,
but-
19.
But even then, in the movie sense, in the last, even with this huge, like,
Yeah,
they're making
exactly.
a lot of stuff. It's been still 4 years since there's a movie. Like
Yeah.
Marvel, there's 3 a year, and 4 shows a year. It's
Yeah.
the-
Star Wars
the
gets
pro-
more buzz. I mean, it's more like critically like acclaimed too, and I think maybe like in terms of like dedicated like fan bases, I would probably say Marvel edges out Star Wars. At least that's what I see. Of course, we surround ourselves in a Star Wars space typically. But
Yeah. I think Marvel's more popular to casual.
I think if you ask the average like household that like is not not like part of the like nerd culture, but just like likes movies, are you more likely to go see a new Star Wars movie or a new Marvel movie? It's gonna be Star Wars. Like
Yeah, because I
you
think
think so?
Marvel.
Really?
I think Marvel is more
Yeah.
popular as a brand because Marvel has so many brands under it. If that makes sense, like
yeah,
Ghost Rider is also Marvel, right? But so is Spider-Man. But you can like Spider-Man and not
Yeah.
like Ghost Rider.
Personally,
Right,
I found that
Spider-Man,
more
right?
people that are
Yeah.
like pretty casual about this stuff like would be more inclined to see Marvel projects than they would be Star Wars.
I just don't know if that's the case.
I just think you have the OT and the prequels that's what sets it apart. Like
Well,
that's
I think the OT. I mean, really, actually, the first movie, if anything, is because it was such a cinematic like watershed of what movies could be and what they could do. Like it fundamentally changed the medium as a whole. Like that alone
Yeah.
has bought it capital for the last 50
and
years.
like and then you just like you're telling me that Darth Vader is like easily more iconic than any Marvel character. Like everyone knows Darth Vader.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, even numbers though weren't like I don't know. You look at Endgame as compared to didn't that do better than like most of the Star Wars?
I mean,
movies?
Endgame has the unfair because that's
Well,
the culmination of
domestically
so
in the
long.
the
Yeah.
US, The Force Awakens is still the most successful.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Star Wars doesn't do good in China, right? Which
Yeah,
is a
it's-
huge hitter.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta think about those overseas. It's the same thing. Like Fast X, the 10th Fast and Furious movie came out this year and made $700 million. Is anyone talking about how that made $700 million?
Yeah, that's
No,
so upsetting.
because it made
Yeah,
because
that
it made like
Fast
it made
X
400 of it in like overseas and like because
A movie I've heard no one talk.
It's
like,
so upsetting. Except for
I'm
Levi.
talking about.
Yeah,
love
Levi.
I'm a big Fast fan.
I can't. I remember. I've just been. We can get sidetracked from whatever point we're making, but I've just been reading your letterbox reviews. I'm like, why is he doing this to him? Why is he taking time out of his day to just watch Fast?
He
and
loves
all
them,
the
man.
Fast
He
and
loves
Furious?
them.
There's no. I watched it with a group of people because we've been doing a little binge of him just for fun. It's one of those things that sort of accidentally happened. We watched the first one, which is like a really good movie, and they're like, "What if we just watched all of them?" And then we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking about Secret Invasion and the.
Yeah,
I
of
was
course,
making-
Secret Invasion.
I was just making a point how no one is talking about
Even,
it.
even
But-
we're not talking about.
even we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can. Everyone's like, "Oh, you want to talk about something else?" Secret Invasion. It's very. It feels like an Andor
It
equivalent.
does. That's exactly. I said it's Andor. It's the Andor compared to like the Mando
Okay.
of,
I
don't
definitely
know,
have to go
I
see
don't know
this.
what you want to call Mando in the Marvel universe, but it's
Probably like-
more of a slow burn. And I don't know. I won't speak too soon because we have seen these
One
shows
episode. Really
they
collapsed.
collapse. But first
Just
episode,
like, like you guys said, Hawkeye had a really strong start, and then just like
And then
completely
the end of Hawkeye is
gooped. It
horrible.
gooped. It gooped. It gooped.
It
It
It gooped. They got
the second Kingpin showed up, it started to goop.
But I just one of my favorite channel moments. You just go back and look at the thumbnail of the reaction
Like,
for like
ugh.
5 and 6. We're all just like, and that that wasn't one of the ones that we make where we like we take the photos beforehand. We'll secret of the trade there.
industry.
But no,
Everyone's
this was an
laughing.
actual like this was just a screenshot of like our reaction like
It
in
was like-
the episode. We're like
Yeah, and we were literally
that
Well,
pretty much sums up those episodes.
Well, before we talk about spoilers for something you haven't seen, Dylan, so you can't really contribute, I think the AI art conversation is probably the most interesting for like a broad because that's like the one
Sure, I
talking
mean, let's
point
get into
out
it.
of the show.
yeah. It got
So-
outside of like
It got outside, yeah, it got outside of like the superhero space. So having, like I said, I waited like 5 days to watch it, and so in that time, I was sort of pretty anti the idea. Like I heard just the headline, and I was like, oh, that feels gross and kind of sucks. Like, why would they take away? Like just eliminating artists like this soon, like and in this moment when everyone's complaining about AI, like the next project you have is like, oh, we're just gonna eliminate people. But then you watch it and you listen to the director explain why you would do it, and I go, oh, I think I see what they're going for here, because that's sort of the whole point of the theme is people getting replaced. And if what I heard is true, this is a rumor, I don't know this for fact, But if what they did was feed the AI the concept art that they had made for the show and then give it the prompts, then I'm like, okay, that's perfect. That's fine. Because you're making artists still made that. And then you're making a point that is in the theme of the show about people getting replaced and not being able to tell what's real and what's not, but it still feels like fake. And because the credits, I gotta say, watching them in the context of the show, they fit. It really fits. And I was like, oh, I like this.
Okay.
And so if that is true, then I'm personally okay with it in this context.
Thank you, Levi. I also share this sentiment. Well, first of all, I watched, it was 3 a.m. I wasn't thinking too much about it. I watched it. I'm like, oh, that was a super cool, it's like cinematic, they did there. Like, I thought it was really good and I enjoyed it. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely AI. Like, I didn't realize it like initially, and then like you said, like, first off, I don't think that no people are involved, because if they did feed it concept art, someone had to draw that. And also, like, I don't think they just tossed it into an AI and it did the whole thing. Like, there are AI artists. These are, a lot of people that consider themselves artists that work with AI to make it. Like, we shouldn't discount those artists. And I'm sure they paid someone to do that. And like, I understand not having seen the show, not having, maybe not even seen the credits and seeing the headline and being like, okay, like, we're just replacing people's jobs. Like, yeah, it's iffy. Like, I'll give you that. But like, if it's done with the intention that this was, like, and handled the way it was, I have no problem with it. I think at the end of the day, I think it was cool. It was a cool theme. I want to watch it.
I just think of the She-Hulk credits, and I particularly liked the way those were assembled at the end. And like, I wouldn't want the effort put into those, or the Miss Marvel credits, or some of I wouldn't want any of those visual effects artists to lose work because of AI. And so that's why I'm saying in this, because I'm honestly on the whole pretty anti-AI, just personally, but in this context, it really makes sense, and it feels right for the show. Yes. Like, you got to see it to believe it.
I agree. I hope that it's not Marvel testing the waters to use this for all their shows going forward. But if this is like purely just for this, one show, and I don't know, I don't mind.
That was going to be my point, and I haven't seen it. And I after doing some reading, I was a little more sort of like on Levi's, or I guess your guys' side there with how it's a little more acceptable given the themes. And again, I haven't seen it. I didn't like the way it looked personally. Like, I could just tell it was AI, and I'm like pretty much always on the anti-AI art side of things, usually, anyways. But yeah, the fact that it does tie into the themes is like kind of like there is still an artistic vision there, which is kind of cool, I guess. But the implications are like a little scary, especially coming from Disney, like the biggest, in the film industry, like using AI art. Like, it's kind of a shame that like we're using AI predominantly to like, or not predominantly, but like to take away like the creative side of our lives, and like not putting more into like, the more mundane like side of our lives. So like, I don't know. I don't love AI art, and so it's hard for me to like justify this in my brain. But like, I do see how it works, I guess, if that makes any sense.
I don't know. I as it stands, I don't mind this application of it. But yeah, I mean, if it goes forward and if they just start always doing that, then that's going to be a problem. But it was interesting to see like how much discourse there was about this, like outside of the Marvel community. Like, it really sparked a topic, and like it seems like it was more like of a discussion than that like ongoing writer's strike, which is like what kind of like bugged me a little bit.
Well, so is the freaking submarine, but
that too. I mean, it's always a problem because there was just like a boat crash and somewhere else that like 300 people died, but like sure. So, I mean, you can get into like what the media covers and what they don't, but so visual artists, missing out on work, not great. But the entire like writing strike that's going on like seems to be sort of like recently swept under the rug. Like, people aren't talking about that, and it's also not something that like the everyday person even knows about right now, which I think is just not good.
Yeah,
like I'll talk about.
Well, the big concern out of that is that they're going to start using AI to write scripts.
Right.
Well, and that was part of the cause, especially with Netflix. One of the holdups is they're like, they're saying in the new contracts that they want to like revisit it once a year and like discuss the like implications of using it.
Which is horrifying to me. That
the Writers Guild is like, no, like that it can't ever be like, Because Netflix, it's not
Right.
like they want to do it right now, but they're like, we'll talk about it in a year.
Yeah.
Or like, and then we'll talk about it the year after. And it's like, no.
Because in the
Well,
meanwhile, they
there's-
could use AI. It's just it'd be
South
non-prohibitive.
Park did it as a way to like show that like they made an episode written by AI to show how bad it is. Like they
Did they really?
literally, like
I know that.
yeah.
That's cool.
Well, the
I don't know.
ending
That's
they
fine.
used it to make a concept, and the ending of the episode was all written by AI, and it's horrible. It is like it's garbage, and that was the point.
I
of
mean,
the episode.
I will say, I do think that AI is capable of probably writing a pretty good like Marvel TV show. Like, I do think that could happen. Not that I'd want.
Yeah,
it to.
like we were saying, they already feel AI generated half the
That's
time.
I mean,
so
dude,
it's
I
like-
mean, even like I liked Mando season 3 a lot. Like, I'm not a hater, but some of it, like, honestly, felt like it could have been like AI written. You know, like,
yeah.
like
Well,
Now,
just
like,
now,
knowing
yeah,
there's
now,
not a-
now,
knowing
now,
there's-
well, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Knowing
It's
there's
just
not a human behind art like feels so wrong.
feels
Like it feels like
wrong.
we're
It's
going
starting
in
to feel a little more
a
robotic. I
horrible
don't know.
direction.
All of it
like
is. But
yeah.
but anyone that the like small minority and these crazy people that are like, no, we should just use AI for writing stuff. Like, I'm gonna shift over to Asteroid City real quick.
Sure.
Neither of these two guys have seen it, but like, that is a film that could never,
Yeah,
ever
never.
like,
Yeah.
like just the how creative and like different it is. Like, nothing like that could ever be spawned from AI.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
even if it gets way more advanced, like, there's so much artistic, integrity there, and like there's a genuine vision. So like
Right.
AI is never gonna take over, but with some shows it feels like they could cop out and start using it, like Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Netflix,
Wednesday feels like AI written to me. Like,
Well, there was this anime too that all the backgrounds were made from AI, and people were like, "This sucks. Like, this is just like a disgusting. Like, already like animators are underpaid like considerably, and then just to use AI for that, it's like it just like even if it turns out really good, it's like I can't watch that and like in my brain be like, I like this.
Well, yeah, there was that Corridor Digital controversy.
Oh
too,
my
with
that at least that looked horrible. Like at least like because they were like not to get too sidetracked, but they're like, did we just change animation? It's like, no, dude, you just made the most disgusting looking like anime fight, and like I don't know, that's a whole different can of
did
worms,
we
but-
change animation?
Yeah, and everyone's like,
Well,
no, you like you
God, I-
absolutely did not.
I fear for that. You just even saying that Mando felt that way makes me afraid. I'm like, I don't want to. I keep AI away from Star Wars. That'd be.
Oh my yeah.
I don't think that will ever happen.
I can
Like,
totally
I
see a
don't know.
gallery. Imagine the gallery episode. It's like, and we used AI to
Yeah.
like see what if they could.
It
write an
weirdly feels
episode.
like something that George would be like into, though.
I know.
Like,
though, that's the also thing. He'd be like,
Yeah,
can you
I
picture a
know.
world in which he's like, this is the new technology? Like, it writes
You know,
poetry, it rhymes.
it's gonna it's gonna write the story.
It writes
Gonna write-
poetry.
oh,
It writes
the
poetry. and it
story is
rhymes.
written by robots now.
Yeah.
Like, I
You
didn't
don't
have to
even
do
need.
anything.
Yeah, you don't.
I know.
even
I can already see the headline. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like if I could have
I don't
written
know.
all the prequels.
I
in
don't
AI,
think
I
that
would.
George would be in support of it, but it feels like one of those weird George things that like
He would have like a
for
weird
some reason
contrarian
he'd be
take
down
on
for
it.
it.
like
Well, he
that,
just loves
yeah.
the like the advancement of technology in
Yeah.
filmmaking. So to him, that's like a new thing. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. For God, like,
Because if George says it, like people take his word for gospel. Like I
but
don't know.
like, what is Star Wars going to be like in 100 years? Did you ever think about that?
It won't
kind of
matter
stuff?
to me because I will be 6 feet under.
Okay, let's say you're alive though.
Oh no.
You're
Oh, no.
121. Like, when does it
Oh, I
stop?
guess
I mean,
that's
when
not-
does Marvel stop? Does Marvel go on another 100 years?
Like,
Marvel-
I mean, we were
Marvel's
talking
been
about this-
around for 100 years.
If I
basically.
mean, like, if these
No.
movies,
But
if
the
they,
MCU
if Levi's
though.
right and they are losing money and dying, like, are we gonna have a weird renaissance where it's like these independent filmmakers get the rights to Marvel and Star Wars? Like,
I mean, it's
I mean,
just
not-
it's just a
I don't
weird like I don't know. It's unprecedented. Like nothing like
Yeah, like-
Marvel has ever existed. Like such
Yeah,
like
no, I know
a
what you
weird
mean.
connected cinematic universe, and like I feel like in 100 years we're gonna be watching the like MCU Star Wars like Indiana Jones like crossover. It's all gonna be deep faked. Like
deep fake Harrison Ford. Yeah.
this is what like I see in the future, and this is when I start getting antsy about deep fakes and stuff. Like it scares me.
yeah.
Well, that's AI
Here's-
too. That's AI too. Yeah. Same.
I
thing.
know deepfake is AI, and this is I don't know.
Scary.
We had a whole AI deepfake conversation in the last pod, Dylan.
yeah.
Went on for quite some time.
I'm like, I hate deepfake, but when it comes to like Star Wars, I weirdly am like cool with it in a way because it's like, okay, that's more of like a character than it is the actor in my mind. A lot of the time, I don't know.
Sure.
I have a very
and that's
weird,
the sentiment that
it's
Johnny
weird-
and Levi
it's
had
weird
too,
for
where-
me to say like I hate like I could never like stay by AI and then be like, yeah, I'm cool with Luke being deepfake though. But like that I saw Luke on my screen in Book of Boba Fett. I'm like, oh my god, that is Luke Skywalker. I mean, obviously I can look back and see that.
I like it in
but,
Star
like,
Wars, but it's what I said last time. I don't like the implications moving forward.
No, me
and we've
neither.
already seen a misuse of it in like George Reeves, like CGI, like
That was disgusting. That was so like knowing the history behind that character and that actor. Like, like I can't believe. Imagine being the guy that's making the CGI model of a guy that killed himself because of being this character you're making. That is like a crazy, like messed up world we're living in.
Yeah, it's pretty unhinged. Anyway, Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion.
I don't know. I mean, like there's only so much to actually say about the plot of Secret Invasion. Like it was mostly a setup episode.
I mean, I can commend though the cast. Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn was great as Talos. Emilia Clarke, obviously as Gaia, was just great. The script was a little weak at times for me, but I really enjoyed the delivery, the performances, the
I did
way.
too. I love the scene of Sam and Maria Hill, Colby Smulders in the bar, and playing their chess match.
Just instantly the feeling of dread you get from the opening frames and understanding. You really can't, like, even though sometimes it's a little predictable, the constant feeling of, I don't know if I'm watching the real character or this is a Skrull who's impersonating a character. It's cool. It's fun. Like, it's a fun feeling that from the concept, it's entertaining.
It's only going to keep
engaging.
going.
Yeah,
it's like every episode there's going to be oh no, it was a Skrull. And
I think the only shame or regret is that the Secret Invasion storyline in the comics is, admittedly, I haven't read all of it, but just you can look on the cover. It's like, it's Captain America.
No, it is a huge event.
It's a huge event, and I think seeing the Skrulls do that kind of thing would be so entertaining. But I do like this more low-key spy thriller approach.
Yeah.
I know that for budgetary reasons and just for like the reasons of making movies and production and how hard it is to do these things, that they couldn't do that. But that would be a dream. Like that should have been what I think instead of Kang Dynasty, like I would have loved to have seen something like that.
I mean, I'll speak for Johnny. I know this is his big holdup about this show is that he feels that it should have been the next like big MCU event.
Oh, well,
and,
I agree.
It probably could have been, but this is what we're left with. I don't think the Skrulls are going anywhere after Secret Invasion. I mean, obviously, I think they're going to be in the Marvels.
Probably, most likely.
I feel like that's been the discussion for like the past like 3 Marvel projects where it's like we keep expecting it to be like this big like like groundbreaking MCU event, and then it just sort of is like its own thing.
It is continually teased. I mean, I always find the end of Far From Home like the funniest after credit scene because it's just so like it's the epitome of Marvel, right? Where it's at the end of it, it's like Maria Hill and
I love that after credit scene because they're
I do too. I just think it's so goofy because it's like, oh, there's Skrulls, and it's like, how is this relevant to Spider-Man?
Right? Yeah.
Like, not at all. So, I think it's funny. I
actually quite liked it because I think because the whole movie they're acting.
I just feel bad for the people that walked out that movie and they're like, what was up with like why was Nick Fury so bad?
Yeah, it's like I didn't see Captain Marvel, man. I don't know what's going on here.
That too. Yeah, I don't know. Secret Invasion, like, I think it's going to be in the upper tier of these Marvel shows. I really do.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this, and just I don't know. Once again, I'll pull the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. card. If the leaks are true, which I feel like they 100% are. I mean, it also seems like Chloe Bennett like confirmed she was in the show basically. So yeah, if we're really getting Coulson and Quake in this show, like it's already a 10 out of 10 in my book.
Yeah, 10. Yeah. I don't know. I just like as much as I'm enjoying it, it is the dread of like, okay, what's next? Like, oh, an Echo show.
The Echo show is the worst thing that's ever gonna happen. And House of Harkness or whatever it's called now.
Oh my god! Wait, that's still happening.
Coven of Witches. Yeah, well,
I haven't heard a word about it.
No, it's
they cast it.
Aubrey
Plaza. I think it's probably a good move, but.
Did she say she was like, this is the best chapter of the MCU yet? She said the other day, and I was like, I
don't. They gotta stop saying this kind of stuff, man. Like they just gotta.
I know at some point they should be like, we know we're past our prime, but you'll still see the stuff.
I don't know if you saw Ben, but we made that joke that like the show was only greenlit because the song was popular. Like apparently that was confirmed like by a leaker. They were
Dude,
like,
yeah, I believe
What
that.
Johnny
I
always
just-
says, yeah.
oh, it's so terrible.
I don't know.
They're
Listen,
like,
I will
this
say,
got
like,
this went trending.
looking
made
to the
us
future,
money.
it's weird because there are projects that like, oh, I'm interested in that, and then there are projects that like I couldn't care less about. Like
Yeah.
it's one or the other. Like the Marvels, excited about. Echo, don't care. Like Blade, well, that
well,
movie's
if
in
that ever
production
comes
hell.
out, yeah.
Blade is in
Yeah.
production hell, but I would like it. To come
Remember
out.
when Mahershala Ali was at the end of the Eternals?
Yep.
Remember when Eternals was a thing? Remember when a giant like celestial being came down to Earth and was like, "You will be judged," and dipped, and no one talked
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, dude, the Celestials are like a huge MCU thing as well. And
I know,
mean,
and like I don't want.
and one
it
of them
at
showed.
all.
People always forget there's a Celestial and Guardians
Some
one.
Guardians, yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, I forgot that too.
Yeah, well, because Nowhere is the head of a Celestial,
yeah.
which is cool.
which is cool.
Yeah. But to continue my point, then there's Agatha. Like I don't care about that at all. And then Daredevil. You know, obviously we love Daredevil.
Yeah, but it won't be as not that I've even seen Daredevil, but I just know like from fans it probably won't be as good as the original Daredevil.
I think
show.
what's dragging it all down, to maybe tie it back to what we were talking about earlier with why the Flash did poorly and was it Ezra, is now they're hinging on the Kang dynasty is what we're all building to.
Yeah.
And it's not clear if Jonathan Majors is like he's in court right now for
Yeah.
assault, and like apparently he has this, like it's just terrible. It's like, well, I can't, how am I going to get excited about the Kang thing when not only did you ruin it in the story with Quantumania,
Yeah.
where like, okay, I am now uninterested in Kang after being interested, but your actor has just as many problems as a movie like The Flash where your lead actor and now the movie bombed. Like, are people going to go see an Avengers movie where it's like, come see Jonathan Majors and the convicted criminal? It's like, well, people won't see that, will they? Like, that'd be terrible.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know,
especially
I mean-
if they did watch Ant-Man, they're like, "Oh, that's Kang."
Yeah, they're like,
Okay,
oh,
but it
what
is
they're
back
doing.
to the Ezra conversation.
that's what I'm saying.
Where it's like
Yeah, that's what it's
I don't
connected
think
to.
I ever actually answered Dylan's like I don't know if it's a rhetorical question or not. But I don't think that enough people
care.
would not go see Flash because Ezra Miller to cause the like box office bomb. Like I think that movie's
Yeah.
bombing regardless.
But this is a different situation though, because the movie hasn't been filmed yet. So I think the issue is they would lose the actor because they wouldn't want to like willingly employ him
Right.
after being charged.
To be fair, as like DC has said nothing about the Ezra Miller stuff. It's like I imagine Disney will just go the same route with Jonathan Majors. I don't even really know what's going on there, or like I don't know. I don't know the allegations.
Fear the implications even of just like I want them to hire Jonathan Majors a little bit because it feels like there's a very like racial thing going on here. Like
I agree.
it is
Yeah.
uncomfortable to me that like Jonathan they're still doing a whole like press tour with Ezra and stuff, and it's like he's still at the premiere, and it's like it's one thing to be like, oh, we already shot the movie with him, like we'll release it, but we're cutting ties with him. Like they have not said that, and there's like he's still there and he's promoting the movie,
Right.
and like and there's so
Disney
much
hasn't
like it's
said
such
that
a different
about
situation because
Majors,
there is
though.
like documented footage of him like choking fans and stuff like
Yeah.
that is like out there. And not
That
saying
was,
that
like,
Jonathan
before they
Majors
filmed,
is innocent or like I'm not weighing in on that, but like
There's
It
nothing
is
more
all
emphasis
just
on it
talk.
because he's black. Yeah.
it's
Well, that's what I'm
speculation.
saying though. Has there been any serious repercussions?
No, he's been charged. Like he's in court right
Okay.
now. Like
Yeah.
he is-
Gotcha. Was Ezra Miller not?
Well, because
Is
Ezra
there-
Miller keeps
Ezra has
Miller,
been
they-
arrested a bunch of times. but
Yeah,
nothing
and they
stuck.
keep and they
Oh,
also
okay,
keep
okay.
committing crimes in like weird jurisdictions. Like they choked that person out
Yeah,
in Iceland.
Hawaii.
It was like in Iceland. It was like and then Hawaii. Like there's just like
I
weird.
know
like,
Ezra. They should
extradited from
not let
Hawaii.
Ezra Miller back to
Yeah.
Hawaii. He said like 2 or 3.
He went crazy.
issues
He
there.
threw like 3 chairs at 3 like separate people's heads on 3 different nights.
that video of Ezra Miller, like their like faces on the TV is like wanted it, and like the camera pans and Ezra Miller's like talking to someone like emphatically on the.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that video so
Dude,
much.
I went on a real Ezra like I went deep and I watched all the arrest videos and like I don't know, they're all pretty funny.
It's crazy.
But
It's
but
crazy.
like they sound like a disturbed individual.
Yeah,
like
Oh,
not-
for sure. For sure.
I mean, they sound like a manic person. Like
Right.
know,
I
and,
just
like,
wonder like how true the allegations are on certain things because like assault is like that's bad, but like that's not enough for me to be like you should like
I
have.
mean,
your
the
career
Jonathan Major
still.
situation like
But,
sounds like tricky, like it is a
I
little
don't
bit
know,
of a
If
of
it
a,
if it's true, then
he
I
said
don't.
she said, but at the very least, like the parties involved all seem like it doesn't seem cut and dry. It seems almost like an Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation where it's like everyone is just sort of messed up, right? Like
yeah,
Either way, I don't know if we need to go that deep into it, but
no, we don't. But
to wrap up, the point is building to Kang. Like after Secret Invasion, like, oh, this is good, but building to this, I'm saying forget the real life stuff. Quantumania already kind of ruined Kang for me, and I hope Loki season 2 brings it back. But like, Quantumania was so goofy with Kang. Like Kang, it felt. I could go on and on about it. You people know my
you
opinion.
got Marvel, dude. You got MCU.
It got gooped. It got gooped. It got so gooped.
They
I'm
gooped,
like,
they gooped it up a little bit.
They
They
gooped.
put some goop in it. I don't think
And-
it's gooped beyond repair, but it's a little goopy.
My point is I'm having a hard time caring, even when the content I think objectively is pretty damn good. And so to put a button, because I said we don't need it. We've already been going for around an hour, and I want to talk about a few other things before we wrap up. So I don't know if we need to go into full spoilers of Secret Invasion. Obviously, there's something that happens at the end of the episode. If you've seen it, I think that's an interesting moment. I hope they stick to it. I hope they don't undo it with like a fake out. I think this episode.
This is one of the few times where I would maybe appreciate a fake out, just because of like, God, some of the press around it. Like, I gotta be careful not to spoil anything, but some of what actors / actresses were saying
I know,
about
yeah, it
the
is.
role, and it's just, it's things that, oh God, the implications are not. It's I can't say anything else without spoiling it, and I do want Dylan to go into it fresh, so I won't continue further. But this is one like show where if there was a fake out, I would like be okay with it, just because I feel bad for the character / actor / actress.
Either way, solid 8 out of 10 from me. I think that's what I would give it. A strong start. I'm into it. That's where I'm at.
I'm very excited for tomorrow night's episode.
Ben,
It is Monday as we record this.
Or what's your rating? I mean,
I don't know. Like, 7, 5, 8. I don't know. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, that was quite. I thought it was quite
sounds
good.
like a strong start.
Yeah,
especially
strong start.
I mean, Dylan, you got to go and watch Miss Marvel, my friend.
I know. I really
Oh my
do.
God, I forgot you still haven't seen that. That is like a
No,
9. That's like an 8590 show as a whole. Like, that's a good show.
It's a great show. And I think it'll make you excited for the Marvels, because I am now excited for the Marvels.
I'm excited for the Marvels because of yeah. Well,
you're all up on Brie because of Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and I also just like Captain Marvel already. Like, I like that movie. So then when Miss Marvel was really good,
That's the one like Captain Marvel defender I know. Like, I don't like outside of like the politics around it, because like that's all bullshit. But it's like the movie is just not good.
No,
like,
I saw this movie with like a bunch of friends and like people that don't really care as much about Marvel, or just, people with just that are like usually just like, oh, I like all movies, and even they were like, oh man, that movie sucked.
Not to me.
I'm sorry. I think the villain, Jude Law, is horrible.
I think Jan Von Rog,
such an awful
it was on not too long ago, just like on TV, and I was watching it. I was like, oh my God,
that's
like,
really it really sour skeleton crew for me. Like, I like ruined Jude Law for me.
Captain Marvel destroyed Jude Law.
He's not that. He's not that bad. Oh man,
no, it's not a bad performance. It's just a horrible character. But
Von Rog, right?
Whatever.
What's his name? Von Rog.
Watch Miss Marvel though. Good show.
Yeah, but then she also they're like, you need to watch this before you see Endgame. You just didn't. You did not need to see Captain Marvel before you saw Endgame.
Man, if you hadn't though, she just pulls up and just destroys Thanos' ship. Like,
yeah, but they were making it seem like there was going to be. Yeah, for sure. But they were making it seem like there were going to be like a crazy tie-in aside from the character itself, which is like, the character exists from like trailers and stuff. So it's like, it's not like you know of anything.
I mean, I don't hate Captain Marvel as much as others, mostly because Coulson's in it. So
it's true. Good de-aging.
Good use of de-aging. Good. It is good.
Yeah, pretty good de-aging.
Yeah, I mean, Fury looks amazing. So
weirdly, so the Marvel has had some of the best like de-aging. Like, it's aged, like it hasn't aged at all.
I know. Marvel CGI is always so like, it's either really good or it's just like not very good. Like, it's never like, I mean, there are some atrocious, like, I always point to the end of Black Panther, but that had its own stuff going on with it. But like, I don't know, sometimes Marvel CGI is just so bad, and sometimes they're just on the cutting edge of like incredible like technological advancement.
Anyway. You're right.
You said you had a few other things.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
I wanted to briefly touch on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which I'll be seeing 3 days from the point of recording this, which I'm very excited for. And then the rumor that's been spreading throughout the internet that the Acolyte is canceled. I mean,
yeah.
I do want to touch on it just because literally everyone has covered it. Like,
Okay, but no, like who actually believes this besides like Mike Zero, like
Doomcock, yeah.
Doomcock, like fanboys. And even those people, I feel like are like ironic half the time.
I don't know, but I just wanted to put out there the Acolyte is not canceled. It's so dumb. The guy who starts all these rumors is a associate of Doomcock named Kamran Pasha, and freaking like I don't know. Do what you do, guy. He has a Patreon where he essentially just makes bullshit up. And
it's always what people want to hear,
and
he's
people,
like the
and people,
QAnon
in the
for
culture
Star
war,
Wars
and it's
fans.
like Leslie Headland's like fired, and it's like,
and people
No.
pay him.
Remember, like Kathleen Kennedy got fired.
dude,
like,
Kathleen Kennedy's
for the
been
past,
fired
like,
like
7
50
years.
times in the
Yeah.
last 2 years, according to them.
Yeah.
Like I swear, it's like every other video. It's like
Yeah.
Kathleen's like,
Although, okay, I it's probably BS, but I have heard people like, if Indy bombs, she is out, and this is a little more stable than like what Doomcock's saying. I still don't think it's true. It's like, I don't know.
I think
if Kathy gets fired, it'll be a very sad day.
I'm surprised to hear you saying that. I'll be
Dude,
sad. But
Dude, I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
like
but
the
what-
sequels, man.
yeah.
But like the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and Theory and his people are always going on about this. They're always like, put Dave Filoni in charge, give her Kathy's job.
don't do that. Don't do that.
No, like Kathy
Keep
is
Dave Filoni
not
on the
a creative. Like
yeah.
like she's more on the business side of things. Like
Right.
what does Dave know about that? And it's
Yeah.
also though the biggest counter argument to that is like, if you love Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni so much, who do you think promoted them into the positions that they're in right now? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, like Dave's Ahsoka show. Like, why can't Kathy do something like that? Like, she
Kathy is
made
the
that
reason, yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
it's true.
Like, she makes the stuff happen. Like, people are happy with the recent, like more Clone Wars and prequel content, and man, like that's her.
Right.
Like I think she's goofed a lot, but she owns up to her mistakes. When Bob messed up, she was like against
takes-
the whole Solo debacle.
She
She
takes the
warned
fall.
against that.
And she takes the fall for a lot of Bob Iger's mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
something that I think is a little
Listen,
bit
I don't
unjust.
know who's doing a better job than Kathy. She knows the industry. She has been doing this for Lucasfilm for so long. Like, she knows what she's doing. Do
Right.
not fire her.
I think the only issue is that sometimes she like doesn't say enough. I think you see James Gunn, who's in a similar position, like constant, like he's saying too much almost. He's just like lying.
No, he is.
But he's-
I think
it
she
seems like there's a
talks
bigger
lot,
connection
people
between,
ignore it,
like-
dude. Every celebration, like she talks a lot. Like she talked a lot about the new
Yeah.
movies. Now,
Yeah, I guess that's true.
the only thing I
there
think
does
she's
feel
really
like a
at
weird
fault
disconnect.
for,
between
I
her
think
and
some,
some of the
she
fans, but-
she pre-announces stuff. Like there's too much that
Right.
she's talked about that has not
Yeah, yeah.
happened. So I don't
I think
want her
to some
fired.
extent, though, I think that's also once
I don't want
again
her fired
the
either.
sins of Disney falling on the president of Lucasfilm, because so much of the garbage that Lucasfilm has done in the last 10 years has been because of like Disney mandated, like telling Kathy you have to do this by this date, and then she's put in a shit situation where she has to make really
Right.
tough calls. Well, it's not to make it like a whole discussion about Kathleen Kennedy, but I think she makes calls that no other movie producer could make, like on like Rogue One and Solo, on the standalone films. I don't know if any other studio head could have made. I think those movies just wouldn't have come out if it was a different producer. But she, like Gareth left, they had to bring in Tony Gilroy. Lord and Miller left. Kasdan was fighting with Lord and Miller. They brought in Ron Howard and made movies that I think everyone here likes. Just the fact they're even comprehensible at all is like, that's impressive. So
yeah. Whatever
Yeah.
they did with Solo, whatever magic they did with the firings and the hirings and the reshoots, man, I want that
Yeah,
for every
right,
Star
like-
Wars movie. That's why, like, when I see the writing turnovers in the Rey movie, with Stephen Knight, and like, it doesn't immediately. I don't immediately press the panic button because I've seen the result of it. Like, and it works.
Also,
I've
they're
really
so
been-
well.
being fired for a reason. Like it's like their product probably sucks.
I know,
if,
but
like-
even if it was for a good reason, usually when you see like crew turnarounds like that,
Yeah.
like mid production, it's usually not a good sign. But
no, it's not.
something worked with Solo and Rogue
I mean,
One.
that's what we've been doing with Rogue Squadron for the past whenever it was
Oh
announced.
well, I don't want that movie. I don't think that movie.
I don't really either, but Ryan's
that movie
trilogy,
never
that's still
filmed.
coming out,
Like
right?
that was the difference of like they had a script and they couldn't agree on it, and then
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. She makes tough calls that I don't think any producer could make. I think Disney probably puts pressure on her to announce projects for shareholders and stuff. But when push comes to shove, when something isn't going to work for the brand, she lets people go. Like for all the hate that The Rise of Skywalker gets, and it's not my favorite Star Wars movie, but I obviously like it. I think she making the call to fire Colin Trevorrow when he was trying to make the Force like a gray like thing.
yeah. He was.
I'm glad she did that because forever how bad Tross is, it does not change the Force. And like Duel of the Fates was attempting to change. No, Ben, don't
it would Force Dyad. Come on, man.
Oh, it introduced a new concept. It does not change like that. The Force is like about light and darkness.
Okay,
Like
sure.
Duel of the Fates was
Okay,
like oh,
okay. It doesn't change it as
embracing
much.
the dark side is good.
Definitely still changes the Force a little.
I
bit.
don't know. No, but the whole Dyad concept is something that's been around for a while. Like that was in Knights of the Old Republic.
I actually kind of like the Dyad too,
Right.
personally.
But making I'm quick.
It's
Come on
being
now,
a
making
Tross defender.
no, but I'm not being a Tross defender. I'm trying to be like Kathleen Kennedy made a hard call because Colin Trevorrow was
you're
going to say
right,
that
you're right.
like the gray Jedi, like embracing the dark side is good. Like that is not.
Yeah, doesn't Ray have a line where she's like, "Sometimes you have to be evil"?
Yeah. Basically, it's like no. Like Kathy read that and said like no, we can't do this.
No. Yeah.
So like
No,
making
she-
that,
yeah.
making that call, like I think she sometimes gets dealt a tough hand because she has to work for a company above her, and there's a fan base that doesn't necessarily fully see the other side of things. And I don't know.
No, if you want to blame anyone,
It's
blame
tough.
the mouse. That's a good rule of thumb usually, and also just I think I don't know. We tend to have a little bit of a better understanding of just the way the film industry works, and like how business decisions get made. So I understand like it's appealing on paper to be like, oh, I want Dave Filoni to be in charge of Lucasfilm, but it's like it's not that simple.
Yeah, that wouldn't do. I doubt he even wants to be. So
no, of course he wouldn't. He wants to be creative.
Yeah.
Like it's
right.
Anyway, Acolyte not canceled. Briefly to bring it up, as I said, another Kathleen Kennedy produced thing. Dial of Destiny comes out this week. Just want to briefly touch on our final expectations for the movie. I've done a full rewatch of all the indie movies. I'm really high on it. I'm actually, it came out of Cannes, got like 40% average on Rotten Tomatoes over the last 2 months. It's risen by about 20%. It is a fresh now on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 62%. So the more people who see it, the more people like it. People don't like Crystal Skull. I like Crystal Skull. If it's got a better rating than Crystal Skull, so I love that movie.
Dude,
So I don't know.
when people don't like a movie at Ken, that's when it really scares me because like the worst movie you will play there, I mean, it'll get like a 12-minute standing ovation. So
it still
like,
didn't it? So,
But there were some weird ass double standards with that because Top Gun Maverick played and it was like Top Gun Maverick gets an amazing 5-minute ovation and then
okay, that was a good dude. Looking back,
I know,
on
but
Top
so
Gun-
did Indiana Jones, and then it was like Indiana Jones
Yeah.
gets a meager 5 minutes. Like, have you seen the headlines next to each other? Like,
okay, true.
it's
That is
nonsense.
kinda funny, yeah.
Dude,
Was
like,
that
I
when
would
Harrison
not.
Ford was, like,
dude,
crying?
I like movies. I would not stand that long and clap for
no,
a movie.
doesn't every movie get like at least somewhat of a standing?
That's what I'm
ovation?
saying. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Like people
Yeah.
just eat it up.
I'm surprised that brought Harrison to tears. Then, like, I feel like it really doesn't.
Well, Harrison
mean
probably
that
likes
much.
the movie. He loves Indy.
Yeah.
He hates everything else besides
Yeah,
Indiana
that's
Jones.
true. That's true.
I don't
At
know.
least his persona.
I'm seeing it Thursday. I know opening night Thursday night. You are too, Levi, I presume.
Yep.
Dylan.
Not Thursday. Well, maybe I can get a seat.
Yeah, my theater is completely full. Johnny texted me like a couple days ago. He was like, "Can I like come with you?" I'm like, "Dude, that theater is full.
Yeah,
Like full. I mean, people are going to see this movie. I mean, I hope it breaks $1 billion. Actually, no, I
Oh,
don't, because they'll make another one.
No, it will not, but it won't break $1 billion. No,
You don't
way.
think it will?
no.
Oh, no way.
Dude, it's Indiana Jones.
I'm actually. We could go another hour talking about how worried I am for this box office. This to me has
I think it's gonna bomb.
like bomb material written all over it. I'm
At
worried.
least this is something that has been advertised, and there's.
I mean,
word-
how did
people are talking about it?
like the last Indiana Jones movie do? Like box
Crystal
office-wise?
Crystal Skull made almost
Because that was
800
still
or
sort of
800.
a return, right? Like to the like
Much
what,
more
like,
than this is. I mean,
yeah.
well,
Oh, I
What-
feel like this is more of like
what's
a
the gap
not a
there?
reboot, but this
It was
probably
like
is a
20
bigger
years.
gap.
It was like
I don't
20
know. I
years
mean,
later.
I'm saying Crystal Skull made $790 million at the box office. You
I
tell me
think-
this
I think-
movie can't do similar. I mean,
I
the
think-
numbers
I
are
think
just higher
similar.
because of inflation too.
Yeah, I think similar. I think I could do similar. I'm hoping for similar, and I think that would be a success. I just don't know because apparently the break-even point on this movie is like 800, and I think that's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wait, really? That is kind of crazy.
It's yeah, Lucasfilm.
I know it's nowadays like the budgets, like, yeah, because it's listed on Wikipedia 185 million, and that's never even close to accurate. You know, like all the
you gotta add at least
marketing
another
and
marketing. Yeah, there's. And you can think of what studios take and what the I don't know. I hope this movie does well, but I want to hear your guys'. I'm really excited.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been on the channel. I've been vocal about this. I don't think this is a movie that needs to get made, and I think if they were to make it, I think I want it to be a great movie, and it doesn't sound like it is. People like the best I've heard about it is that like, oh, it's a fun indie movie, like Crystal Skull was, and that's just not like that's not enough for me.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go and dig up Harrison and do
dig up Harrison,
go and do this whole like, I don't know. I don't think the movie needs to get made, and I think it's not going to be good. Like, and you know, I love Indiana Jones, but I don't really think there's ever been a movie that's even close to Raiders. Like, you know, just out like after. I know we got some big Crusade fans on the channel. I respect that. I just don't think it's on par. So, I don't know. I'm excited to go and watch an Indiana Jones movie. I really hope that Marion is in it.
She was at the premiere.
She was at the premiere, so I love her. She's what makes Raiders so good. Like her versus Willie is like the big distinction I make.
I know. Yeah,
you know. So
I don't have time for a full indie discussion. Dylan, what are your expectations? What are your?
I think I do like Indiana Jones, and you know, I guess I'm a little more. I'm definitely less of a fan than you guys. Like it's not like a Star Wars or a Marvel to me.
It's not for me. We were saying this earlier. It seems like it's up there for Levi nowadays, though.
It is. Right. It has been. Yeah, I've been really into it. It's a Lucasfilm thing. I don't know.
It's not something.
But yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know. From what I heard, like I don't have super high expectations for it. I probably won't see it opening night, but I will see it in theaters just because it's Indiana Jones. You got to go see that in theaters.
I hope it does better than The Flash.
I would go see it soon because I think there's probably going to be some pretty big spoiler stuff in this movie.
I hope it does better than The Flash too, and I hope I'm pleasely surprised. I don't know. I guess I'll hear Ben's take or your guys' take once you
on Letterboxd. See it on Letterboxd.
Levi's gonna like it. We should start putting on Letterboxd in the description. I feel like it's come up like every single podcast recently.
Yeah,
we should look into that. Yeah, I'm gonna start tagging movies. Levi movie.
It's a Levi movie.
I finally got on Letterboxd after quite some time of.
It's one of my favorites.
I was kicking, fighting, and they finally
succumbed.
I'm enjoying myself on there.
All right, well, I think we've had a good podcast here. I think we're excited for Dial of Destiny. I think we'll hopefully be back in the week to talk about that. If we can,
I want to do a whole Indiana Jones pod.
I think we'll do that as well. I think hopefully we'll talk about episode 2, Secret Invasion. But let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you guys think about like the AI intro, or what you think of Dial of Destiny, or any stuff we've talked about. I mean, most of it is Acolyte. I mean, obviously, what are you gonna say? No, I do think Acolyte is canceled. No, you don't. You don't think that. You're smarter than that.
You don't think that.
But thank you guys for watching. As always, it's been the Only Nerd. It's been Dylan. It's been Ben. All the way around. It's been Levi.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.
See you.